Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Madhyamam Vande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om 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 Ishvara Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The having worshipped me through yajnas, those people who know the three Vedas, they drink the Sama juicy, and who are purified of sins, pray for access to the heavens. So he was making reference to people who know the devas and they go through the process of extraction and assimilation of the nectar of wisdom, of Vedic wisdom. Therefore, they are purified from their adharmic tendencies. The mind is pure. And then they are doing that mostly because they want punya, celestial punya. They want to go to the heavens, to the lokas, to meet with the gods. So that's the concept. And they end up going to the heavens. So this is just to present. He was just going through the different level of devotees. Now we know the devotees, they basically they look association, they search for association with Ishvara for the sake of getting punya. But some of them want punya material and they are more like self-centered. They want favorable circumstance for himself, herself, and the family. And but yet, now they are called, they are referred to as Sakama Bhaktas. Yeah? And then we go into Niskama. Niskama wants like celestial pleasure, they want punya in the sense that they want to go to heaven. Huh? And so on. But as we know, anybody going to heaven will have to come down from heaven to for the simple fact that punya is not a stable, permanent thing. Punya is nothing but results of a certain conduct of life here in reality, which provides us with its fruits. But once those fruits are exhausted, we need to produce more punya. It's just like uh, beginning your life with the concept that I cannot spend everything that I earn. I need to make saving accounts and so on. And then I keep saving, 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 save. So I'm doing work, good work, honest work, and I'm saving some money for the future. But then in the future, so if I spend all my material money, punya money, in the end, I say, Ishvara, I can't work anymore. I'm already 115 years old. So take me away and give me a new instrument so that I can come back here and produce another good bank account with savings and investments and so on. So everything exhausts, everything comes and goes, as we go through life. So, and now he's talking about that, the nature of bhakti and bhaktas, and that's what we have seen, the concept of sakama, niskama, and the importance. And then I just made some commentaries on the fact that following the exposition of Swami Paramarthananda, of course, that the highest bhakta is the one who wants mental purity, mental refinement, and for that, this highest possible bhakta. Not the highest, because the highest is the yani, the yani yogi, but this bhakta, which is not a sadhana by itself, but it is an attitude, a spiritual, reverential, devotional attitude. This bhakta is no longer really mainly interested in material worldly gains, but they want purity of mind and, of course, in total harmony with the laws and principles of the creator. And then if one gets qualified for what? For Yin Yoga. And for the Yin Yoga, you need what? You need the scriptures, and the scriptures are no longer going to be instruction. Do this to get that. Do this to get that other thing. No, the instructions will be contemplate, follow the logic, and understand your true nature. And then you don't need to do anything to gain anything. It's a totally different path. So that's the path of knowledge, which requires great maturity, rare refinement. These qualifications, they are not often found among the seekers, spiritual seekers. And then when we come to that level, we understood. Now what I need is an inscription about knowledge, not knowledge on what I should do, but knowledge on how about understanding something that puts an end to all learning about what to do to gain certain punya results. So, and then one comes to the Vichara Shastras, the scriptures on investigation on the true nature of God, true nature of the individual. And then at the same time, Swami here is highlighting the fact that one needs to have a guru, and the guru is the one who is going to kind of decode, unlock. I mean, not that the scripture I was mentioning that last class, not that the Upanishad scriptures which asserts the identity between the Atma of the Jiva with the Atma of Ishvara, as well the Atma of Brahman, the real nature of Ishvara and Jiva. So it's not that those scriptures they are encoded, they're encrypted. No, it's very clear, but it's so subtle, and the words have a hard time to explain that because we have to examine our day-to-day experience of life and in the light, of these teachings of the Upanishad to understand not only superficially that I am limitless, infinite, non-dual consciousness, the only reality. Everything is consciousness. Okay, it's great. So now I know I am consciousness. So what am I going to do with it, Mark?
Yeah, that knowledge isn't sufficient. No, it's got to be integrated. It's got to become your way of life and become who you truly are.
Yeah. And exactly. And furthermore, once we understand, okay, now I understood the only reality is consciousness, the true nature of the observer, the true nature of the mind, the true nature of the body mind, the true nature of the creator and the creation. There is only consciousness. Okay, I understood that. So, but what is the benefit about knowing that? So there are two levels of factors that are still missing. One is to understand what it means to be consciousness, the only reality. You understand? And then later on, as you said, Mark, you need to internalize that. This is the third element that James used to put out. Oh, everybody is two-thirds enlightened. And then the last third is to understand what it means to be consciousness. You understand? So understanding I am consciousness is very good. Okay, everything is consciousness. But if you don't understand that as consciousness, you don't need anything. There are no need to keep chasing and feeding desires and fear. You are consciousness, and there is only you. There is no threat. there is no lines between you and some other factor that could attack you or impact you. There is only consciousness. All of this is an apparent projection upon consciousness. So understanding the meaning of there is only consciousness and I am consciousness, everything is consciousness, is the key because it relates to the Ananda nature of Brahman. Ananda means limitlessness. Limitlessness is something that has no borders. There is no limitation. There is no place from which it ends so that something else begins. Otherwise, there will be a possibility of invasion, as we see in between the fictitious lines between nations, you know. So no, there is only consciousness. Everything is consciousness, and I am consciousness. And then it means I'm safe. I don't need to build up an arm to protect and the best protection is attack and rob everything from the earth. No, I don't deal with that. I am consciousness. And consciousness is one without a second. Therefore, the mind gets pacified by understanding the Ananda nature of Satchitananda. You understand? So, and then once you understand that, which is a big thing, is the last third of the equation, they understand the true nature of Ananda, which is limitlessness. And what is limitlessness? There is only consciousness. Yeah? So once we understand that, and then we are really, really good to go because the assimilation of that thereafter is very, very easy, simple, effortless, and natural once we really understand the meaning of Ananda. Okay, so we need the guru for that, not because the teachings are very difficult or encoded and so on. No, it's because it's so subtle, but it's so obvious. It's so simple, but so subtle that it ends up being unbelievable. You know, I was playing with my Brazilian class last weekend, and when we go deep into those statements of identity of the Upanishads, we come like, okay, oh, I want more Upanishads. I want you to learn more Upanishad, teach you this Upanishad, and then it's all about that. You are Brahman, you are consciousness, and this. And I was saying, so I mean, what are we gonna do? How long? So I'm already doing this job for almost 10 years. So how long more you guys have to hear this and somehow nobody believes it? You understand? Nobody believes. The difficulty is to make people to believe it, to trust that that is a statement of truth. You understand? How can I make people believe it? So one has to do a lot of manana and nididhyasana because there are still doubts, the abstractions, suspiciousness, lack of shraddha in the scriptures, you understand, that are undermined the trust and the certainty that comes from this direct knowledge, you understand? So people usually cannot really believe, and then they believe otherwise superficially. They say, yes, yes, I am consciousness. I always felt there was something very great about me. I am conscious, I am Brahman. Okay, and then I am Brahman. Okay, 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 but you know what it means to be Brahman? It means that you are conscious existence, the only reality, and how you can relax. Fear can go, concern can go, desires can go, everything you can relax because you are full, you are complete. How the guru is going to make people believe in that, trust that statement over and over. Every one of my classes in Portuguese language is the same thing, and and nobody trusts it, nobody doubts. Manana is necessary. I was emphasizing in my last weekend. Manana, manana, manana. Taking care of those doubts, those suspiciousness, those vagueness, and Otherwise, people, no, no, I got it all, I got it all, but they got it more superficially, more on the intellectual level. But deep inside, people do not buy it. You understand that, Mark? I'm talking to you because I'm seeing you on the screen.
Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, it's a process. You got to go through it. Yeah, I understand it completely. But yeah, I still come to the classes because I love to hear it as well. There's
Yeah,
also that aspect of it.
yeah, of
It's
course.
a joy to listen to,
It's a joy.
and to reinforce knowledge. We have to keep hearing it time and time again
Yeah. And we have
until
to,
we no longer,
yeah, and we need to
yeah,
keep
until we no longer do it.
remember what I like to call our homework. Our homework is just to remember, going back to the text, reading the scripture, listening to the videos again, and so on. And you have to go there searching for doubts. Doubts is what undermines our conviction in regards to our true nature as fullness, completion, one without a second. So we need to see. So if I was so extreme in my last class and last weekend that I was saying most probably it was Saturday's class. I say most possible probably I'm gonna lose another one or two students in this Saturday class, the two class, because I was going all the way to the bottom of it, you know. So people they they like to enjoy, but they end up believing that no, there are no doubts. I understood the logic, and I always say, okay, if you understood the logic, if there are no doubts, and then you need to make a simple test, and then everybody wants to know that I say, are you still suffering? Emotional, mental, psychological uh, situations? Are you still going into some moments that you really feel down, depressed, anxious, afraid? And are you still going through those emotional disturbance? Because if you're still going, you still have doubts that were not really uprooted and dealt with. You understand? So the best test is to see if we're still going through emotional, psychological, uh, problematic states, you know, mind. So we're talking about bhakti. It starts with sakama and it's good. Goes into niskama. And then once we come to niskama bhakti, we are qualified to go and into yin yoga. And for that, we want a teaching guru, who is not going to teach only the technology of certain doing sadhanas, but it's going to unfold the teachings that only require understanding and claiming on the side of the disciple. The disciple is still a devotee, but from the standpoint of the teacher, the disciple is just a disciple, someone who wants to understand what the teacher has understood or read. But the devotion should go to Ishwara because without the blessings, without the grace of Ishwara, this parokshyana is is more difficult to emerge in the mind. So, and Swami, in the last paragraph of the last class, he says something very simple but beautiful. He says, most human beings want pleasures. They want favorable sensory experience. Okay, they want things going their way in conformity with one likes, and so on. Most people are interested in that. But then, according to our script, some people grow enough to want something else, and then they want what? They want celestial punya, né? So they want heavily experience, but it's always after that. You understand? They want something after that, and then they do a lot of good dharmic activities, so conduct of life, believing that they go to heaven. Every scripture, every religion structure talks about heaven, but never here, never as a mental state due to atmayana. It's always a heavenly thing if you obey, if you are fearful towards God, and if you just take your God, your representative, as the one who is coming to save you. So in Vedanta, we present logic which is much more sophisticated and difficult to to be challenged. Heaven is a state of mind. This state of mind can be gained by suppressing all those thoughts which produce a problematic mind. And if you are successful in suppressing those by use of your willpower, you're gonna experience during your meditations a good state of mind. But heaven is a state of mind that remains more or less permanently, and that is only possible by Atmayana, understand my true nature, and that understand establish the mind in a state, a general state of pacification and peace. Not that it's like, "Ooh." No, it goes a little bit like that. But before it used to go like this. You understand? Because when I sit in meditation, it's everything is good. But then when I start dealing with the problems, and then my mind goes like that. And then if I have to deal with the orange man, my mind goes like that. So no, Atmayana. Having talked about bhakti in general as a means of moksha, I'm not going to repeat all of that because we have seen it. Let me see if there are some new pairs here presented by Swamiji. The bhakti can be classified in three levels. Sakama, Niskama, and the last one is the bhakta of the highest level, is the bhakta who is interested in self-knowledge and moksha. Okay. Usually the first level of bhakti, this is important to highlight. Usually the first level of bhakti deals with one Istadevata. And now you have your own representative of Ishvara. And I am a Krishna guy, I'm a Krishna. Oh, and this guy here is a Rama a guy, or this guy here is another deity's devotee. So our scriptures say, don't fight among yourselves, because these deities, they just represent the one and only creator, which is Ishvara in our language, or God. There is only one God. But then people choose certain deities or entities, and then they avatars, howsoever. But people go even in wars about that. My God against your God. I mean, it's unbelievable the level of unsophistication that we find in most all religious structures. And the first level of bhakti usually deals with one kind of deity against others. My religion, this is my God. Your religion, that is your God. That is wrong. My God is the right God. So, and Christianity seems to be big in the Occident and in the West. Sorry, in the West, and then they want to kill everybody in the Middle East or in the Far East that somehow have different representatives of God. Oh, those radicals, religious extremists, terrorists, because they believe in Allah. I believe there is only one God. Let people believe what they believe, you know, leave them alone. And there are no, because they may get enough uranium, processed uranium to create an atomic bomb. And then the West come and say, no, no, only we can have. We made already some exceptions here, India, blah, 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 blah. We determine now no more nations can acquire atomic weapons. And that is the only nation in the world that has utilized atomic weapons in Japan to demonstrate its power and to dominate the world for 70 years. So how hypocrite it can be. The nation, the only nation that explode these bombs, far away from their land, now says we cannot allow other people to have. Why? Because it's a threat, you know. It's unbelievable. But anyhow, going back here, there is only one Ishvara. Let people have their beliefs in their own gods. Let's try to find agreements. And most of the nation, nobody wants to have a nuclear war because it's going to end life on the planet, I can't believe that we're going to get to that extreme. Let people live, do their things, find agreements about never use nuclear weapons in no circumstance. Creates a structure of laws that is going to simply uh, put an end to the nations that do what the United States did in the Second World War. You see, rather than allow those nations to become the dominating nation of the world. You understand? So, but we don't know. I mean, everything is so corrupted. So I was saying that the love for on the Sakama level usually is direct to one deity, limit by a name, a form, and in certain qualities, And then we go into a different level in which we see God and as everything. When you see God as everything, we say this is Niskama Bhakta. But Niskama Bhakta is the one who just acts with a spirit of contribution, retribution, donation, and adding value, as Ranji used to call. And but almost invariably, the person who comes to that level is not that he gives away one's Istadevata if the person lives in the environment, in the context of a Vedic culture, but that the individual starts seeing God as everything. If I see God as everything, if I see God as the environment, I start doing actions that favor the environment, which includes all my brothers and sisters. You understand? Include everything. I understood that God is everything. So Vishvarupa Darshana, I see God as everything, and then I see God as the knowledge, the supreme intelligence sustaining this Vyavaharika and so on. Usually it comes together on the same level of bhakti, on the second level of bhakti. And then we move into the third level of bhakti, which is the understanding that God is not confined in one name, one form, and a certain attribute. God is not confined in the total manifestation of the cosmos, in which I'm part of it. So it was a good step. Now I'm an integral part of Ishvara. Ishvara is the totality. Ishvara is the knowledge sustaining the entire universe, including this aging physical body. And that's a good step forward or upwards. And then I go and I transfer my understanding naturally, but surely, gradually, into the understanding that God is not even limited by the manifestation of the universe, because God is the substratum on which this entire cosmos apparently projects itself by the power of Maya. So when you get to that, understand that a God without any name, not even a totality of all names and forms, it's just the only reality, and then it's my very intrinsic nature, it's the nature of everything, is consciousness, is the support of the universe, is the screen on which the universe is projected, or is the reflecting media on which this universe, this cosmos is reflect. Howsoever construct we make to understand the nature of God, we understand the nature of consciousness, the only reality. And then that does not make the individual allergic to Istadevata, does not make the individual allergic to Vishwara, vision, Rupa. Vision Ishvara is the totality, intelligence. It's just understood the true nature of all Ishtadevatas, the true nature of Ishvara, the cosmic Ishvara, and the true nature as Brahman, as consciousness, which only then I can say, which is Ikea, identical to the nature of this body, mind, sense complex as well. So, and then that is a different kind of bhakti. That is a different kind of yana, of devotion. Yeah? The greatest devotee is the yani, is the yani yogi. Sakama Bhakti, then God is the end. And then another angle is Sakama Bhakti, I use God as a means to a certain end, which is accomplish my desired goals. And then God is the end, is I love God because love, I own everything to God. Okay. And then the third level is there is no separation between God and I, not that I'm integral part of God. I am God is a statement that I am always reluctant to say because a lot of people misunderstand that. So here Swami says, I am God. God is myself. So first, God is the totality. I am integral part, and God is managing even my body, mind, sense complex. And then now I understood the true nature of this Vishvarupa God, this cosmic God as consciousness. And then I understand which is my very, very nature. Okay. And then rather than have God as a means, God as a name, and now I see God as my very intrinsic nature, the only reality as conscious existence, the only reality. So this is the highest form of bhakti, which does not cancel the other two levels, okay? As if, for example, oh, now I'm Yani, and then I don't see God represented by, my representation of God is our Sampradaya, you understand? So rather than put image of all these Vedic deities that I'm not familiarized with, I have my Sampradaya because I value the knowledge coming through our sampradaya as the highest expression of Saguna Nirguna Brahman. You understand? So those are my idols. So I don't throw that way. I don't throw nature and the vision of Vishvarupa, cosmic Sharupa as it is intelligently designing perfect, beautiful nature around us or so all those other levels, they don't disappear, but you understood, you went to the bottom line to understand the real true nature of God as your very, very conscious existence. You understand? And I'm careful with this because claiming, I am Brahman, God is myself, Brahman is myself. Yeah, the self, the Atma. There is only one Atma. So the Atma is Brahman. The I is Brahman. So I have emphasized that as well in my group, especially doing some Upanishads. Rather than say I am Brahman, it's easy to say the I is Brahman. The mind is Brahman. The Atma is Brahman. There is only one Atma, one existence, no? And that is Brahman. Yeah. Because when the person, if it's not prepared enough to say, I am God, I am Brahman, and this and that, so we have to say, okay, so define to me what do you mean by this I? Hmm? Because chances are that the I is still a little bit polluted by some gunas of Maya. You understand? Even a lot of sattva guna is like polluting the true nature of this Upanishad declaration of identity, and then say, I am Brahman, and then you took a lot of sattva guna with you. Now you believe that you are certain sattvic mental state with a little bit more wisdom and so on and so forth. So Krishna is talking about bhakti in all these different levels. Let me see what Swam says here. So the verse 20 and 21, which is what we are seeing now. He was saying like what we have seen before the verse 20 and 21. Now that we have seen the three levels of bhakti, we're going to look into verse 20 and 21. Talks about Manda Bhakti and what do the Manda Bhakta or Sakama Bhakta do. Now he's going to go more into the details of the three levels of bhaktas. So it's all welcome because he always presents some of his angles and nuance, the worship of the Lord. And the warlock is going to ask you, okay, so I'm here for you. What do you want? It's like the person walking on the beach and find a lamp and then a bottle and open that bottle, and then the jinn comes out and says, okay, now you found. I am your God. I am your servant. So which are your wishes? And then we say, oh, find it enough. I discovered you. I want this and this and this and this and this. But anything that we ask is going to be wrong. It's like the person finds the bottle on the sea, and the genie is going to say, oh, I have only three wish that you're going to give me. And then the three wishes are going to be so small that many times in the story tells that one of those wish cancel the other two, and the person is without anything, contradictory wishes. So the Manda Bhakti, which is the first level, they are going to ask things that are not going to solve their problem. If it's worldly gains, or it is celestial gains, or interdimensional experience, none of that is going to help in anything, anything, no, because they're asking for wrong things. And that is due to what? The thickness of samsara. Thickness of samsara is going to produce a lot of things on the emotional level, emotional, psychological disturbance, and emotionally, psychological, mental disturbed mind. What it does with the human intellect. The subtle body is an integrated organism. If those other centers are disturbed due to a certain tendency or attitudes that were crystallized in life, and then the intellect is going to suffer the illness of samsara. And the best way to understand the way the intellect is going to suffer samsara is delusion, the ability to see things and discern and determine what is going on in this world, much less what is going on in the terms of true reality. if I cannot determine and discern what's happening in this world, this material world, how can I determine what is reality, what is satya, and what is mithya? So this is the ultimate. It always appears at the very end, this delusion, okay? Delusion. They ask for wrong things, and then later on, they are going to suffer of delusion, that which is when the discrimination, discerning faculty of the mind, which is the highest thing God gave us, is compromised, is kaput, and cannot understand what's going on anymore, is going to make decisions that are going to create more conflicts and so on. And that's called moha, the ultimate damage of the body mind sense complex on the intellectual level. Delusion, the intellect is kaput. Krishna talks about this. But Krishna talks about that they are great bhakta, the three Vedas, they have performed soma. But now he changed the subject and he said, but here Krishna is talking about great bhaktas that did not, the bhaktas that were not just destroyed by samsara, but they learned to apply the proper medicine against this illness. And then they rose, on a higher level of bhakti, to the extent of consume the liquor, this nectar of soma, spiritual wisdom, which qualifies them to moksha. So there are some representations or some elaborations on the symbolisms of these, so nectars or whatever, soma, should be taken only as part of yaga. Separately, them, it's a liquor, they are not supposed to be taken. Part of become that they are all free from the papans. If you drink the nectar of scriptural wisdom, okay, the Vedic Vedantic scripture wisdom, you're going to be free, you're going to heal from samsara, and you're going to destroy those papans that leads to moha, which is the destruction of one's intellectual faculty. And they acquire enormous punya, and punya is not freeing anybody, but punya is indispensable. Spiritual punya comes with great mental, emotional purity and refinement of mind. So to such individuals, Bhagavan says, now that you are highly qualified, I'm giving you a check, you can write and tell me exactly now what you want. So I have given things to you when you were small and a child, infantile, and now you developed this wisdom, because you could drink the nectar of scriptural wisdom, and now you can choose. Now I ask you again, so what do you really want now? The disciple is going to say, well, okay, anything, okay? So I will give you anything now that you are qualified, And then the Upanishads will say that the disciple, highly qualified, meets again God, and then the same question is asked, what you really want? And then he says, I want to know the true nature of reality. I want to know what I am, what everything is. I want to know the nature of God. I have heard that's the only way to into moksha or freedom from suffering in this realm. And I understood and I trust that the scriptures on Upanishads deliver that knowledge that is going to allow me to understand my always ever free and independent, full, whole, and complete nature as you, Nirguna Atma, my very Atma. So the individual has to be purified through those other levels of relationship with God before. But before that, people are going to say, like, now I want to go to some Brahmaloka and so on. And then so I'm here address, okay, whatsoever level of maturity of the individual is going to make choice. You know? Some people, they choose, they have a long list of desires, but they don't understand that there is a karma pala datta, the creator. They just say, I want what I want and I get what I want. Howsoever, whatever means I use justifies gaining what I want. But the religious people say, no, now I understand that there is Bhagwan and Bhagwan is going to give me. Therefore, I have to write, fill up the paperwork and present my requirements to Bhagwan to say, now I want this and this and this and this. And some people, as we know, will say, no, I want to go to one of these superior lokas. I hear that people live so happily there. And I see that this life here is nothing. But by the way, I also want to be happy here until this body dies. Yeah? So, and then you say, okay, so I'm gonna just do everything. I'm gonna study even the scriptures, but I want to have punya in this lifetime. And for that, I present you my prayers and my pujas and my sadhanas. I want to have a happy life. Huh? Some people are suffering miserably, and some people enjoy life. I want the best of both worlds. I want the best of this world and the best of the other world because I want to go to one of these superior lokas. Huh? So, and then the point here is the Bhagwan is not responsible for giving punya papam. He's not going to give you a happy life or unhappy life. Bhagwan, as I like to put, is a system. It's a karma system, karmic system. He will just provide us with the fruits, the results, of everything we have done. So Bhagwan is not going to be able to help you. Guru cannot help you. Guru is going to say, no, Bhagwan is going to help you. Just do your prayers and so on. Bhagwan is going to help you. But the disciple hears that, thinks like, okay, now Guru cannot help. But Guru is explaining to me how to deal with Shwara. I'm going to ask directly to Bhagwan. Yeah? And then a guru later on said, Bhagwan cannot do it. Oh, you cannot help me. Bhagwan can help me. Who can help me? Huh? This is something that was very, very important present in the verse in the chapter 7 or 8. The importance of our own effort. Only us can save ourselves. Not that we can absolutely precisely control our destinies, but only us can orient our lives in a way that it is conducive to spiritual purification, elevation, which is conducive to self-knowledge and spiritual wisdom. Huh? So, and then the disciple has to be so mature to take full responsibility for whatsoever tragic condition one finds himself in. Yeah? So everybody's looking to blame someone. Swamiji presents here that concept that human beings are moved by ignorance. They make errors every time. So to err is human, and then the proverb says, but to make to blame somebody else for the error is even much more human, you know. So I like very much this because it describes exactly how things work when human beings are totally governed by ignorance, avidya. Blaming, 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 blame, place, circumstance. I don't like this, that's why I'm suffering. I don't like that because that's why I'm suffering. I'm all the time. I'm no, because of Jesus, because of Jesus. I'm suffering because of Jesus. My God, when the person is going to understand where is the blame, where the blame should be put on. Therefore, be very careful, never blame, because the blame indirectly go to Ishwara. You know, when you are blaming anybody, everybody, you are just blaming life, blaming Ishwara, and then you get into even more trouble because you are losing your trust in Ishwara because you believe that Ishwara should be providing you with so much happiness 24/7. So we are always responsible for whatsoever parabada we experience, and that goes to the universal or planetary, universal parabada of people of our civilization right now. You know, we are responsible. Yeah. Oh, but I did not do anything. The politicians are corrupt and this and that. Well, you know, we can make mistake by bad actions, bad vivekas, and bad this, but we can also make a lot of mistakes by sitting in front of the TV for the past 50 years, eating junk food, growing fat, and getting brainwashed. You understand? So God is not going to force you. Guru cannot force. Going to superior lokas it requires a lot of punya actions to produce punya palans. Uh, so this person is far from really making a choice. I want moksha. In fact, it's much more honest to just forget about moksha and to say, no, no, I want to get some celestial uh, results. You know, I want to have a better birth in a different place. So let me tell the story here. I'm going to read this story because I don't remember this story. Uh, it is, I want to enjoy. What will Bhagwan do? Bhagwan cannot force you. Svarga is not good. Why are you asking that? I will give you moksha. And say, no, no, I don't want this moksha. I don't want to go to heaven later on. I want happiness here now. No? The person is going to reject everything. And then he gives his example that I'm curious to see because I did not read it today. It's like a baby. We have got a gold biscuit, and we have uh, common biscuits, cookies. We have cookies and cooks. Some cookies are made out of pure gold. Some cookies are made out of flour. They are eatable, but the gold cookie is far superior in value. So now the child will throw away the gold biscuit and eat the regular one. They may even swallow the gold biscuit, which is not going to serve any purpose. And then Swami says, I read in today's paper, people swallow even gold coins or biscuits as well. Normally, they are not eaten. I don't know. I don't know if he's referring to people who in those days used to smuggle gold by swallowing and bring it in one's stomach or whatever. So you ask the baby, what do you want? The baby is going to ask for an eatable cookie. He will say, this gold cookie has no value. So it's all a question of understand the real value of things, you know. Everybody wants to have regular, ordinary wheat flour cookies. Jesus called Nitya, Anitya, Vastu, Viveka, Nasti. So, Lynn, you've been an hour expert in Sanskrit. Tell me.
I have to laugh at that. That is not having the discrimination about the truth of what is limitless and what is limited.
Nitya Vastu. What is the literal meaning of Vastu?
Truth
Truth.
or reality or.
Okay, and Nasti?
I'm not sure if that's literal.
Okay.
Nasti is not. It's not. So you don't have the discrimination between the truth of what is eternal and what is not eternal.
And that's common. And the children have that all the time, and most adults die in that same condition. And we have a good laughter at children, but we, the so-called evolved human beings, we throw away the wisdom of the Upanishads because we don't see value the same way. The Lord, from the Lord, you can find your way to gain millions of worldly ananda pleasures, worldly pleasures. You can do things in a certain way. From the Lord, you can buy million. We do not know. So if the mother is going to force the child to take so the child will grow up later and ask for the proper biscuit cookie, but not give it. Similarly, Bhagwan also decides to give this Varga eatable cookie and the moksha. And therefore, Krishna says, those unintelligent people, those Sakama Bhaktas, those Manda Bhaktas, means reaching, attaining the world of Indra. What is the world of Indra? Is those superior lokas, celestial lokas. So, what time of surrender loka? Punya surrender. Punya means Punya Palam Rupam, or sacred heavens, full of joys and pleasure, as described in every scripture as well, Christianity and all this. The eternal happiness in heaven. And people believe that. I have such a hard time to understand the logic of you coming here, one birth only, and then from here, according to, it's not even according to what you do. It's not even according to your behavior, the way you conduct yourself in life. is according to a final decision that you say, no, 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 now I give my life to Christ, and Christ is forgiving me, and he's saving my soul and taking me to heaven. A lot of people, they don't know, all you have to do is to surrender your life to God, Christ, or whatever, and he will take you to heaven. And how long I'm going to take it? Forever. Forever. There are so many, I don't know if any of you are much embedded in this in Christianity culture, but the logic fallacies, no? Fallacious logic, or I forgot the name. Within this concept is so big, and sometimes I like to listen to some scholar to see if there is some really the bottom, some really solid logic sustaining, but I couldn't find anything really much convincing. And Swami goes about talking about Tamil Nadu music season. These things I can relate to. Heavenly pleasure, celestial pleasures, things the pleasures are unimaginable. Some of them. We hear all this description. It appears as though the Sakama Bhakta have made the right choice. He's still unfolding the concept of a Sakama Bhakta. I was more under the impression that that would fall more into Niskama Bhakta in its initial stage, because the Niskama he goes beyond the desire for artha kama. They want dharma, and dharma is also seen as punya, celestial punya. You understand? You want to behave in a certain way so that you go to one of these lokas. No? They have chosen heaven, okay? After death, but only after death. First qualification is you should die first. Oh, God, it's okay. Then let me die tomorrow. Well, if that's the case, let's rush, because I want to get out of here. After that, and then our scripture going to say, don't believe it, and furthermore, don't kill yourself, because that is going to create much more trouble for you. So, isn't it the good choice of those Sakamabha? Krishna is going to examine those choices, and of course, it's going to criticize by pointing out the fallacies behind those decisions. What I want. But anyhow, we cannot force maturity into anyone's mind, intellect. People gonna do what they gonna do, as we say in the United States. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namaste. So I meet again tomorrow with you guys, same time, but this on time. We begin tomorrow at 11. Okay? Namaste.
Great. Thank you, Arvind. Great class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.